What is going on, travelers, and welcome to my review of Astrometica. We're going to be starting out in survival mode, and then we're going to jump our way into creative mode to get both sides of this current early access review. I mean, it's more of a progress report than it is a review because, well, it just released for early access. So let's go ahead and start talking about the graphics. The graphics, I think, are awesome. This is just the beginning of what everything looks like and what it can be potentially in the future. Like, really, really good. It's got that Subnautica vibe, so you know already that you're getting into something very, very exciting, very, very good to look at visually. And once you step out of the base, you have all of this to look out around you. I mean, look at the asteroids, look at some of the bases, even the light in the distance. It's something to ooh and ah about that makes you want to put windows on your bases. Over there, if you can kind of see in the distance, I don't know if I can scroll or look, and no, I can't really, but over there is where we start. And initially we're going to be looking at rocks, and yeah, that's pretty much what you're doing at the beginning of the game. You're mining these rocks: iron, copper, nickel, quartz, and coal at the beginning, and then you get into some of the more advanced materials, which is, let me go into the inventory area and see what we got. Yeah, I know it's nickel, and I think it's iridium that we're looking at. Let's see. Open minerals. Your advanced stuff is going to be blue quartz and sulfur. Do we have anything? There's nickel. There it is, nanite. And I thought I had some iridium in here, but I think I already built it in one of the other things. We have bars. Iridium. There it is right there. I kind of left it in there. It's supposed to be over in another spot, but hey, it is what it is. Now, other than talking about the graphics on how you're getting your 60 FPS, and by the way, this is on PC and on Steam and Epic. It'll be coming soon to Epic. But ultimately, yeah, this is just strictly on PC, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and check out EVA again. Initially, when you come out of the escape pod, you're initially going to be floating. You have your 6 degrees of freedom, which means when you press the space bar, you strafe up. When you press the C button, you strafe down. A and D is right and left. That means A is left, is right. Initially, your space break is control. All that wonderful stuff in EVA to keep that immersion within the space game. Not necessarily simulated, but enough to get you to feel like you're in a universe in space. I mean, could you imagine in VR? It'd be on such a different level. Let's get into the mining. See if I can go ahead and pick something out of my bag of tricks here. If I'm gonna go ahead and go to this iron node here, all I'm generally gonna do is just approach it. You'll see this little icon that says 100%, and I'm gonna start mining with it. At first, it'll be very, very slow. Was that coal or is that iron? Oh no, it was iron. Initially, it'll be a lot slower than that. Initially, that's what you're going to do to survive. You're going to be mining rocks. You're going to be mining ice. You're going to be mining quartz, which is pretty much minerals. Just minerals and ice. That's all you're going to be mining. But all that's going to help you survive. And there are little packages out here, if I can find it. I think it's over here. Are there any left? No. I don't think there are any left. But what I'm talking about, let's go back to base. I think it might be a shortcut if I go through this way. Initially, what I'm talking about is organics. Go ahead and put that away. When we're looking at organics, it is right over here. When we're talking about this, I think it's called gargoyle fruit, fungu, and then here it is, organic, right there. Initially, that's what you start out with the beginning of the game, and it kind of blossoms into the rest of these, like red silicite. Actually, I don't think we can eat red silicite, but we get seeds to go ahead and put down in these pods in order to keep gaining food and keep rebuilding it as we initially start to make space donuts and space burgers. I don't know if that's going to change in the future after early access, but hey, it's a pretty good start. Not to mention, our 0.2 liters of water and our filled oxygen tank, which is an advanced blueprint to make. So we talked a little bit about survival. Let's go ahead and talk about the tools. Initially, I didn't have this up here, but now that I thought about it, I'm like, okay, let's talk about the tools. So this is your scrapper. Initially, this is what you're going to be bonking a lot of boxes with when you're at other bases. Next up, you got your mining tool. You already saw how that works. And then you have your scanning tool, which, let me get onto the black here, which can ping, and when it's at something, generally, it'll scan. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to scan, so we're already at the end of the game here, but I think you get the gist. And then we have the builder. I keep going in and out of here, man. Initially, when we get into creative mode, you'll see more of these base building materials, but base building blueprints in order for you to make specific bases with. Unfortunately, I don't have the materials to go ahead and build, so we'll save that for the creative mode. But initially, when you get to this screen by pressing tab, blueprints right there. I'm sorry, not blueprints. Initially, when you have the buildable out, you'll right click and then you'll have this interface. I'm sorry, I'm getting two things mixed up that I need to explain. So you have your base building, you have your machines in which you're going to build that inside, not outside. Your advanced, which is your chest, and they do progress up to a medium storage. You can place a beacon down just in case you get lost. You have your power panel that tells you what kind of power initially is there. And this is a better example if I just show you. I'm not pointing things out. The things down here that you see are your batteries. These are your starting batteries. And eventually they become much bigger once you start getting the blueprints for the better materials. The better buildables. Here we go. So this is your power panel right here, and it'll tell you your usable power, your current and needed power capacity, along with what's generating power. As long as you have this above 5 seconds? Yeah. Then it's gaining 14 seconds out of 5, which is really, really good for a small place like this. It generates enough power and has enough, wait, does it? Before I get on my high horse here. It's generating enough power to stay afloat and enough power for me to put things down. Okay, then you have your laser gun, obviously, and that is our whole bag of tricks right there. If we're going to go ahead and look inside for, there it is, our character here. We got an engineering suit, that's good for our environment. We have a tier 2 jetpack, backpack, that's initially the first one you get. A shield module, that's advanced a little bit later. I think that's more mid-game in this build. Then you got a flashlight and your oxygen capsule, which goes up in tiers. Let's go ahead and start looking at upgrades here in a bit. But first I want to talk about storage. Like I said, storage does progress from that little chest we saw earlier in the menu to these big lockers, and you'll notice that in these lockers there's 42 slots. So if you want to, you can build as many of these as possible and just sort them out. You don't know how helpful this is, especially when you have mining lasers attached to the building that they collect, and they do collect a lot, and then you end up putting them in these lockers. Oh, looks like we need some water. Ooh, we need a lot more than that. Initially, your fabricator is going to be the first place that you go to. You're going to be making copper bars, iron bars, copper wire, electric parts. As I said, data transformer, batteries, glass, your chipset, power cell, your resin, and your glass, as well as much needed survival remedies, which are water, food, medical kits, oxygen tanks, and the upgrades for them, which is the 1 liter of water in the filled tank and the improved medical kit. Then you have in the area we're going to build your tools and initially the repair toolkit for your ship, as well as your battery chargers. Pretty much when you get into the game, you'll have all this to look at and place down and organize it however you want, especially when it gets to the advanced fabricator, the blueprint researcher, which is initially what you're going to want whenever you have something in here that resembles a a blueprint. You're going to put it in here to research it, and initially gives you all of this. Mostly it's just tool modifications, and then sometimes it's a little something different, but you're going to be looking at tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Yeah, there's a tier 3 right there. And a lot of this is for your mining tools. Sometimes this is for your scanner. A lot of this could be for your hook tool. We'll see the hook tool in creative mode. Unfortunately, I don't have that on me. Initially, you're going to want to upgrade and just keep everything on top once you begin to progress a little bit further within the early access build. Your smelter, do not sleep on this smelter. The reason why is because when you have multiples of iron in your inventory, you need to get rid of it because you're carrying too much. This will make X amount of iron bars for you. If you look down at the bottom where it says change crafting amount, you press shift and then roll or scroll. I guess it's roll. Roll the mouse wheel and it'll let you make as many as you can produce. If you have 24 in there, great. You're going to get 8 instantly versus making it in the fabricator, which makes it 1 bar at a time. Then you have your recycler. This is very good for putting in plants. Once you put the plants in, it's going to recycle it after a period of time and give you organics and glass. Just in case you're running low and maybe you're out of quartz, you don't want to go all the way to go get quartz, but you have something that's organic within like a glass or something like that, and you put it in the recycler and boom, you got those materials. Anything else you put in here, that's allowed. Unfortunately, upgrades can't be put in there to dismantle them for parts. I've tried it and it doesn't work. So you just have to stick with that, unfortunately. Alright, let's talk about hunger and thirst. As you noticed, I had to go ahead and drink earlier, as well as get some food. Actually, I haven't gotten any food yet because we're at 54%. Thirst goes a little too fast for me. It goes a little too fast for me. I can keep up with it as long as I have the right amount of materials. If you look at the water I have, it's 0.2 liters. Which means that's not gonna fill me up any faster. This, like 2 of these is just gonna be 0.4, which means it's about 40% on my meter. So that's not gonna be enough. Once I start making the 1 meter, then I'm gonna be able to fill up my meter totally. So I think right now it's in the right spot for hunger and thirst. So I'm not gonna complain too much about that. And again, this is early access, so that may change. Oh my god, you get the space donut, boom, you're set. 100 plus or plus 100 food, no problem. It's the burgers that kind of get you, because the burgers, they're about 60. So 2 of those, you're set. But I know you don't want to keep eating burgers to the point where you're like, I'm eating 2 burgers at a time. I keep running out of food. But again, with the organics you get from the locker we looked at earlier, you're set with food as long as you have enough organics. Let's go ahead and talk about progression. We went ahead and talked about how you can progress with your lockers, you can progress with your tools. Now you're able to progress with your vehicles. Oh, hold on, I'm going into the wrong direction. So go into your module fabricator. This is where you get your upgrades from. So once you start getting your vehicles, this is the first place you're going to go. Initially, not the what is it called? It's like a little space bike that you get first. That thing, all you're going to do is just put batteries on it. Nothing extraordinary about it. You're not able to upgrade that, but you are able to upgrade this bad boy over here. We're going to talk about more about vehicles later. It's just initially when you're out there, you don't start out with a jetpack. You just start drifting. That's it. And with very little oxygen at first. Until you start getting a jetpack, that helps you out a little bit more. Then you get your little space bike over there, and then initially you get this bad boy over here. Like little thing in space. But since we're on the topic of vehicles, let's go ahead and talk about it. We already talked about the jetpack a little bit. That goes up in tiers from the upgrade station, which is right about here. We didn't actually go over the upgrade station, but when you get to the upgrade station, it's going to give you more tiers for your jetpack, your oxygen capsule, as well as your backpack. For that, we already have tier 3, and we already have tier 3 for the oxygen capsule. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to this row yet. Since we already finished it, we've already gone through the gate. But initially, this is where you'll come to for that. When you get out of your vehicle, you want to go somewhere. It's going to require you to not have a vehicle, and you're going to initially have to go in there yourself. But how do you make vehicles once you reach that up gold part? So you're going to go to your vehicle constructor. You're going to go ahead and make a skipper. I keep calling it something else instead of a skipper throughout my playthrough, but initially you make this. This is a good start. This is initially what you're going to want through your end game. What you're going to want is the summon vehicle. This is because it has a faster rate of speed. You're able to equip it with, I believe, weapons. I've seen weapons on here, I just haven't found the blueprint yet. It has a boost speed, and initially you can put speed upgrades to make it go even faster. The skipper, on the other hand, doesn't have that feature, and I like the way the devs have done that. So you have a steady line of progression, so you don't necessarily say, okay, that's it, I'm done, I don't have to make any more. Like, no, you need to progress to get these items, so it makes your traveling through space a lot better, especially when it's in an expanded environment like this. I need to note that this environment was not that big before. Initially in the demo, it's where that base pod is over there, and where about that asteroid is. That's how small it is. I'm probably just not giving the right amount of size for it, but initially it's that small when you play the demo. When you get into the actual game, it's big. It's a lot bigger. Now, areas to visit. I'll go ahead and hop in the space car here. I love the way the devs have you visit these areas, and they're all highlighted. You can see in the distance, there's one that's highlighted over there. You see what I'm telling you about the speed and maneuverability of this? So good. 6 degrees of freedom, especially in a space game. Sometimes some space games are arcadey in the way that they move, but with this one, you have full control, especially the mouse, the thrusters, and the upgrades. But going back to locations, initially, first place you go is a lot of these areas that are attainable as soon as you begin to progress with different tiers of equipment. They also have lore. Let's go ahead and can I look into the log here real quick? There we go. Blueprints, markers, logs. There we go. You'll find these signals that tell you different places, give you different names, give you different stories. These are initially the people who were here before you. I'm not going to go ahead and spoil any of this. I just want you to know that there is lore. The lore does get really heavy once you start exploring more of the areas more. The more you start progressing, the more interested you become in the stories and on what happened. Why did this happen? What's going on? Who is this business? And I'm going to leave it at that. Now, I will say, for one thing, those of you who are looking for the whip key, let's go ahead and take a trip over the Theta 9. The whip key is, or what it means, whip, is work in progress. There initially isn't a key yet. So I'm gonna botch this. That should be over to the left. So you might have noticed, okay, where's this key at? I can't get into this room. Whoop! And then initially, it says WIP. I don't know what that means, WIP, and it's like, nah, it's just a work in progress. That's all it means. Initially, it's not there. If you have found a key that says otherwise, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, we can go in here. Ooh, it is a bit dark. Let's see, is it L? Oh, yeah. So turning on your flashlight is going to be the mouse, the mouse wheel. You just click on it and it turns on the flashlight. I'm sitting here pressing T, pressing L. You know, it's been a minute. So, no, that's not whip. Whoop! Ah. Yeah, I don't think we can fix that yet. We need a repair tool for that. So something like this, where it says whip, that's work in progress, which means that door is probably going to be opening within the next build. Daddy. I like what they've done with the abandoned area. It looks super cool. It's all damaged, and you need to explore this area to see what it has. It is so cool. Like I said, don't want to spoil too much for you. I want you to jump in, have a good time. Wait, hold on. You go the right way. I'm sorry, this way. And then back into the space car. Alright, we're going to go ahead and head back to the base. We're going to go ahead and jump in creative mode to show you what you can do in terms of just experimenting with what's in the game that's buildable, as well as, you know, just having a good leisurely time, especially if you have a very limited amount of time in this game to play. Just wanted to mention, if you are going to play creative mode, the mode is right here and ready for you to pick the specific mode. We're going to go ahead and put an as-is build right here. And then, like, I know initially it looks like the same thing. It's what I initially had before. but you'll notice that the bar isn't there unless I went ahead and messed up, because there you have to make sure that you're clicking on the right save. Sometimes you'll click and think it's the right save, but then you'll notice that, oh no, this isn't the right save. I need to log out and come back in again. I'm pretty sure the devs are going to fix that. But initially, we are back in creative mode. And for those of you who are wondering if the teleporter works, oh no, okay. Yeah, we're going to go over the whole creative build of this, how cool it is, and what you initially get to experiment with. There it is. Okay, so for the teleporter, already there's a destination, and look at that. And our base is way over there. I wish I could zoom in and show you where it is, but if you see 453, that's where the base is at. That's where our skipper's at. That's where our space car is at. So initially, yes, the teleporter does work. Does the teleporter work from different systems? In theory, yes. The only reason why I can say that is because if you go to your blueprints and you go down to, is it the advanced? No, not base parts. Advanced buildables? No, it's not there. Oh, speaking of advanced buildables, let's go ahead and talk about the deposit miner. I wanted to mention this with miners earlier, but I kind of skipped over it. So with this, on the other hand, let's see, what does it say? I haven't got a chance to use it yet. The cutting-edge device designed to harness endless potential of mineral deposits. With precision laser technology, it operates tirelessly, ensuring a countless flow of virtual resources from even the most stubborn veins. So initially, this is going to be the machine that you're going to go to for your resources. So you'll have one base that's probably your home base that you'll have everything at. You'll have other bases dedicated to hauling in iron, hauling in copper, hauling in nickel, hauling in iridium, any types of those. And you can hop between stations using the teleporter to make your life a little easier. You'll see more of the blueprints and more of the upgrades here. I mean, look at this, the corridor asteroid miner tier 2. Tier 2 is really, really, really good. You probably can't see if, no, it's not firing at all. But initially, those things fire a lot better than tier 1, trust me. But, yep, to answer your question about the teleporter, it does work. Alright, going back. Let's talk about the building. If I can just find the airlock here. Is that the airlock? As for the observatory, is this it? Oh, and if you had questions about having an inner airlock door, here it is. Now, finding the blueprint in survival mode, I don't know, but in creative mode, it's there. I'm not 100% sure if all the buildables are there, but hey, it's there. So you can have that little bit of immersion for your space stations. Now, when you're creative mode, this allows you to tinker with just about everything. From the extenders, I actually found this in survival mode and found it extremely helpful. All the way from the extenders to the tier 2 batteries to the I'm sorry, I had a brain fart. Solar panels that are on top. But just about working with everything that's here, even the glass. Not the glass tunnels, the glass bridges here. I don't even know what it is. Hallways. To initially the vertical buildings. Now I wanted to highlight something about the vertical buildings. I was not able to build anything on top for me to go through. It was a little hard. I'm pretty sure in this recent patch that may have been fixed, but I wasn't able to build anything on top of it. If I was to go over here, I got my buildable and then put a vertical on top of it, you can see that right above it, it won't clip. Snap. I'm sorry, not clip. It snaps. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to snap, but it's not doing it. And if that could be fixed, in another patch or in another part of the roadmap, that'd be awesome, because I would love a vertical part to go straight into one room. And let me actually show you the vertical room. If you played this, you already know, but if you haven't played this, it's pretty cool. Let me just come down in here. And if you do build, you start to notice you see 65% on my buildable tool. It's because when you do build something, it takes out the batteries, and you do run out of battery power in creative mode. That's also something that can be fixed later on down the road because it's still early access. Wow, what is that doing in here? But when you hop into these vertical tunnels, you notice you can go 0G in here. Whoop! Run across into another room, go 0G again. Look at that, no ladder, no elevator. And you're in the next room. Looking out into the, not into the, well, into the eternal black, but hey, it's pretty good. So if you ever get the blueprints for these, I highly recommend this for the builders out there. Do what you can with it. Go ahead and have those space vibes and build to your heart's content. Just because that one part had an issue with snapping doesn't mean the rest of it doesn't have an issue. I mean, yeah. It doesn't mean that everything else has an issue. There's no issue with most of the buildables I used so far. If I wanted to put this in and attach it to... Let's go ahead and put it over there. All I initially have to do is come up there and boom, there it is. It automatically snapped. All I have to do is stay in position and click it into place, and it'll definitely go ahead and give me the building that I want. As you notice, hunger and oxygen and thirst are unlimited in creative mode. So you don't necessarily have to run in, run out, run in, run out, just like you have to with survival mode. You can just sit here and take your time. Will all the other things for like lore and buildings and all the other blueprints you're generally already have are there for you to pick up? Yes, you can go ahead and do that in creative mode. If you're just tinkering around, you're not exactly sure if you're up to the survival part of the game, but initially you can come in here and do your thing and just build to your heart's content. But after all that, again, this is an early access, but I definitely give this game a try. Right now, Astrometica is $17.99 on Steam, as it's on sale for 10% off. I would recommend getting into this because of the roadmap. Let's go ahead and take an initial look at that. So now at the main menu, let's go ahead and take a look at the roadmap. They are consistently working on this. We're talking about drones in the automation update, more updates to the story, which means that WIP, that work in progress for some areas, is going to get worked on with new locations, new stories, voice acting, which means we're probably going to get recordings, maybe not, it's just the speculation part, by the way, of you know, like Subnautica, how they have their recordings. Maybe we'll get recordings for everything that we found in game, who knows. There's space combat updates. We're looking at island builders, the Unidel update, which is the, I don't know if you can see it on screen over here and over here, but that's the big ship that we're going to be able to go into later on to have missions. And there's the Una vehicle, which is much smaller, but I think that's going to be our little, like, mobile base, probably. I don't know. Then we have a scavenging update for all of you scavengers out there. Space stations. You don't know how crucial this is for some people in a space game to have their own space station. I mean, already this is sounding super ambitious, and I'm definitely going to be watching this for a very long time. And then there's game mode updates. So there's going to be new game modes, new custom game modes, relaxing mode, and sandbox mode. So with relaxing mode, if it's anything like No Man's Sky's relax mode, which means you're going to come into the game, there's not really much of a threat. Within there, you just kind of go in, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the music. I mean, speaking of the music, if you're listening to it right now, it sounds amazing. And in sandbox mode, I initially believe that's something, off the top of my head, I'm going to probably say this wrong. Let me know down in the comments if this is wrong. Generally, it's going to put you in a big area where you can probably just build your heart's content, maybe. It sounds a lot more like creative mode, but I'm not sure. The devs are going to have more answers about that. You can ask them in their Discord whenever they have questions popping up. But everyone, thank you so much for watching. This is Astrometica. You can get it on Steam for $17.99 while it's on sale. Go beyond, traveler.